everyone, and welcome to MeowMix, the Carolina Panthers podcast. My name is Steven.
My name is Jerry.
And we have a bite-sized edition of the podcast today. We're going to be looking at the most recent free agent signings, focusing on David Moore, wide receiver, formerly of the Seattle Seahawks. David Moore was signed to a 2-year, $4.75 million deal with the Panthers, $1.25 million guaranteed. This is a good deal. Jerry, what do you think about this signing?
I love it. You know how I was upset with the offensive lineman signings, how much they were guaranteed. This is the deal I would have been happy that they got. But we're getting a decent slot receiver for this money, and I'm shocked he costs so little. Scott Fitterer scouted him when he was with Seattle, and obviously they liked what they saw and they drafted him. So all around, I really like this signing, especially with Curtis gone. He's going to compete with, Omar Bayless, Zylstra, and Kirkwood for that slot and extra playing time behind DJ and Robbie Anderson.
Right. Yeah, I agree. He's definitely not replacing Curtis Samuel in production.
Well, yeah.
But, who out there would at this point? I mean, we're not signing Kenny Golladay. So
No.
I like this. I think this was sort of assumed by a lot of people that David Moore would end up on the Panthers just because of the Seattle connection with Fitterer, assuming that we were going to lose Curtis Samuel. So this has sort of been something that I've assumed was going to happen, and it did happen. Just looking at his stats here, nothing amazing. Last year, 2020, 35 receptions, 417 yards, 6 touchdowns. He always seems to catch a long ball. Every time I watch a Seattle game, he seems to catch a long ball. So he's got some speed, and it just never has seemed to be able to put it all together. Of course, you got DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett on your team. Those are the guys that are going to eat up all the catches. It's going to be the same here with the Panthers with DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson.
And then you have Christian McCaffrey too. I mean,
right.
He's going to be 4th or 5th options if he gets that slot position. Like I said, there is competition there now. So,
yeah, but I think he's got some potential. He's got all the tools. So I like it as a third receiver. No problems at all. And I love the contract. It's cheap. And if you get the same production that he gave to Seattle last year, I think you're happy with that.
I did too. I mean, 35 catches, 417, 6 touchdowns. Yeah. That's
out of your third receiver. Again, it's not Curtis Samuel production, but we're not paying $12 million a year for him.
Yeah. And
like Washington is.
And Curtis Samuel was also our tight end. Those third down receptions. He became that tight end. And so hopefully we'll fix that somewhere in the draft or currently in the free agency.
Well, I don't know. It seems like New England is signing all the tight ends that are available. That is something that, that third down possession receiver, and you're right. It typically is the tight end. Well, it has been for the Panthers, at least, because we had Greg Olsen for so many years. So last year, that was definitely Curtis Samuel. And I don't know that David Moore is that guy this year. I think it's probably going to be McCaffrey, right?
Yeah, I think so,
that's too. Who it normally would be. So, yeah, as long as David Moore can give us, just a different look, another speedy receiver that can catch the ball, no issues. I'm happy with this signing.
All right, and what is your grade for this signing?
It's like I'm gonna give it a B, just a solid B. Like, it doesn't blow me away. I like the contract. I don't know that it's gonna be if you took David Moore or Brandon Zylstra, are you going to get that big of a difference in production? Probably a little bit.
Yeah.
I think David Moore's a little better than that. I would like to see Omar Bayless. I'm kind of encouraged by what we saw last year before he got hurt. So hoping that maybe he makes this signing sort of irrelevant.
Me too.
But I'd give it a solid B. I think it's a position that we needed, and it's a cheap contract and a good player.
Yeah, I'm going A- just for all those reasons. I think adding another guy who's been there and done that, because with Zylstra, Kirkwood, and Bayless, they haven't done it yet. But to add them this cheap, at least you're going into the draft feeling comfortable with your receiver core. You're not having to worry about it that much.
Yeah, I don't think there's any need to use a second or third round pick on a receiver if you still need offensive tackle or corner or safety or whatever, all these positions that we still need that are higher priority.
Yeah. Now, the Panthers also did a couple more moves. We're going to move through these guys a couple quickly. Cornerback Rashaan Melvin agreed to a 1-year deal, hasn't been released. He's 31 years old. He opted out in 2020 and he with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Excuse me.
I looked at his
Yeah.
2019 player grades on PFF. His coverage is a 47. His run defense is good. So he's a camp body in my opinion. I can't imagine the contract's going to be much there.
Yeah. 31 years old. So he's been in the league for a little while. I think, is this the guy I saw?
He's been with Baltimore, New England, Indianapolis,
Detroit,
Oakland.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been around the league. So yeah, not super excited about this one, but again, if he's just a camp body, as long as it's the veteran minimum or something like that, which I assume it probably will be, doesn't move the needle much for me.
Yep, I'm giving him a C just because same thing. You need a camp body, need a veteran in there, bring him in.
I agree. The Panthers still need to address corner at the starting level, so that may be a draft thing. I don't know. Of course, Kyle Fuller just got released, but don't know that the Panthers can afford him.
Yeah, and
still try to go after Deshaun Watson.
And lastly, they signed running back Darius Clark, agreed to a 1-year deal. Again, terms not released yet. He's undrafted at a Newberry College. I guess they had a hub football camp earlier this month that Joe Brady was at. He caught Joe Brady's eye and they signed him. So good. I mean, obviously he had some talent or at least showed something.
I don't know. I have no thoughts really on this one other than Joe Brady likes him. I mean, obviously it's probably going to be the minimum deal in terms of contracts. This is a classic. Bring him into camp to compete. See what if you find a diamond in the rough type of guy. So, C for me again. Just doesn't move the needle, but hey, you never know.
Yeah, exactly. C. And C is the average. You're not super excited. You're not bummed. It's just another guy in there. And if he plans out or if he lights it up, great.
Yeah. And if you tell me that this guy's making $2 million a year, well, then I'm lower on that.
Exactly.
Obviously. So I'm assuming, again, with both these guys, minimum, whatever the minimum they can make is what they're going to make.
Probably. All right. Any final thoughts on free agency before we sign off on this?
Just, so far, let me ask you this. So far, what do you like about what you've seen from the Panthers in terms of, is it what you expected? A little more than what you expected?
A little more on the defensive side, a little less on the offensive line. Again, I'm not a big fan of the offensive line signings we've had, and I feel like we still need to shore that up more. But overall, I'm a little bit, the offensive line is kind of making it teeter on the downside, but the defense teeters it back to positive.
So would you say overall the Panthers have improved?
Slightly improved. Yes.
Slightly improved. Yeah, I agree. Defense, I think, as long as these new guys we brought in are healthy, I think is much better. On offense, I think we have regressed, but we can address that in the draft, a few different positions. And there's still, a month left before the draft. So lots is still going to happen. There's still going to be more signings, more cuts. I mean, Fuller just got cut yesterday. So, I mean, there's still guys that are going to be cut.
Now, I do say I want to preface it. I am worried about the defensive tackle spot because right now I think we only have Derek Brown and Bravion Roy as our only defensive tackles, unless we really do move to that 3-4 tile type. I can't speak scheme.
Yeah, well, I agree, and again, still lots of time to go. So I think they'll address that eventually.
Yep. We want to thank everyone for listening or watching, actually, since this is only going to be on YouTube. Please follow us on Twitter at MeowMix Podcast. If you have any questions or comments, you can email us at mailbag@meowmixpodcast.com. If you leave us a 5-star review with a comment on Apple Podcasts, we'll read it on the show.
Yeah, everybody, please like and subscribe. We'll be back with any breaking news, and check out the full podcast, as Jerry said. Until then, everybody, keep pounding.